Well, good afternoon. This is Betty Meredith, President of the Retirement Resource Center, a retirement education and training company for professionals, clients, and consumers. And I'm happy to be your host today for Protecting Seniors from Scams and Identity Theft with Steve Weisman, JD, professor at Bentley University and editor of Scamicide.com, as our presenter. Seniors are particularly vulnerable to being scammed and becoming victims of identity theft. Elder fraud is a huge problem that costs seniors more than $3 billion a year. This session will identify why seniors are particularly vulnerable to being scammed and the types of scams that target the elderly, such as phony lottery scams, government benefit scams, telemarketing scams, investment and grandparent scams, tech support, and romance scams. And there are ways advisors can help their senior clients be protected. Steve Weisman is a lawyer, college professor, author, and one of the country's leading experts in cybersecurity, identity theft, and scams. He is a member of the Massachusetts Bar, the Federal Bar, and is admitted to practice before the United States Supreme Court. He has been a faculty member at Bentley University since 1998 and is presently a senior lecturer on white-collar crime. Steve was a columnist for USA Today between 2014 and 2017, where he wrote about issues of cybersecurity, scams, and identity theft. And he has frequently appeared as an expert on every network that you can think of, and he's also appeared as an expert on scams on the Dr. Phil show. So you know you've made it if you've gotten that far. He's been quoted in numerous publications, such as Barron's, New York Times, Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, and he's the author of 10 books, including 50 Ways to Protect Your Identity and Your Credit, A Guide to Elder Planning, and The Truth About Avoiding Scams, which was chosen as one of the top 10 business books of the year by Smart Money magazine. And at the end, we'll talk about his blog on Scamicide.com, which was cited by the New York Times as one of the 3 best resources for information on coronavirus-related scams. And it'll be great content for us to get every day when you sign up for it. So, Steve, thanks for being here with us today, and we'll now turn it over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my real pleasure to be with you guys. So today, we're going to talk about how big a problem identity theft and scams are and how they affect seniors, and in particular, why seniors are so vulnerable. Some of it, we may think, we know, and actually there's some scientific reasons about that too. And then, of course, we'll let you know what you can do to help protect seniors from becoming victims. So one of the things I tell people is, and first of all, I'm going to talk to you. My job is going to be to talk to you for about an hour. Your job is going to be to listen. But if you finish your job before I do mine, you'll let me know. So things aren't as bad as you think. Actually, they're worse. A congressional study showed that seniors are 12% of the population, but 30% of the scam victims. Study by the MetLife Mature Market Institute showed that the cost is, as Betty indicated, about $3 billion annually. The Senate Special Committee on Aging also indicated that it's up to about $3 billion, and the figure is probably low because the federal government reports $40 billion is scammed from people over the phone, and elderly people constitute the vast majority of those phone fraud victims. Department of Justice estimated that 1 in 10 older adults is a victim of such financial abuse. And things are getting worse. The Consumer Sentinel Network data book, which is published by the FTC, showed there was a 47% increase in fraud and identity theft in just the last 2 years. Fraud and identity theft make up the most common reports here. And this is something where government documents and benefits fraud is a very, very large part of that. Imposter scams, where someone is posing as the IRS or Social Security, is a large part. And unfortunately, seniors are also less likely to report losing money to fraud. And, to some extent, it may be perhaps they're not familiar with the process for reporting. A lot of times, I think it really is embarrassment out of maybe losing a little bit off the fastball. And frankly, any of us can be scammed, so it isn't anything to be ashamed of. Seniors also, particularly those 70 and over and 80 and over in particular, report losing more money to frauds and scams. Romance scams, which we'll talk about, heavy losses for people over 60. Phone scams. Older people are 4 times more likely to be hit with a phone scam, but also online. So there's a lot of things that indicate that seniors are really hit hard by these scams.